Most Reverend Dr. Thomas Athanasius of the most ancient Malankara Orthodox Church. His Holiness explained to you all about the church, so I am not going into that. I am deliberately speaking in English because ഇന്നലെ 4-5-10 ദിവസമായിട്ട് മലയാളത്തിൽ സംസാരിച്ച് ചിലർക്കൊന്നും ഒരു പിടിയും കിട്ടുന്നില്ല എന്തെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. എൻ്റെ കൂടെ വന്നവർ ഒരുപാട് പേരുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ അവരൊക്കെ ഇന്നലെ എൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് കംപ്ലയിൻറ്റ് ചെയ്തു, ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ എന്തുകൊണ്ട് പറയുന്നില്ല ഒരു പ്രാവശ്യം. അതുകൊണ്ട് അദ്ദേഹവും ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറഞ്ഞു, ഞാനും ഇംഗ്ലീഷിൽ പറയാം ഇടയ്ക്ക്. So first I must thank you, sir, for inviting us here and for that wonderful introduction you gave before we started this program. First of all, I want to I want to start with a little story which comes from the Sufi literature. So, it's basically because I shy away from the microphone. This is a story it's an ancient Sufi story from a great Sufi called Jalaluddin Rumi, whose famous work is the Masnavi. But I must also tell you that it was a favorite story of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He was very fond of this story. And Swami Vivekananda was also very fond. He has quoted it a few times in his talks. Well, I learnt it when I went through the Masnavi. Masnavi is in Persian. Fortunately, there are some translations, but there is much to be done. Needs a little more attention. Anyway, so this is the story of 4 blind men who went to find out what an elephant is. So, ഒരു ആനയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പോൾ 4 കുരുടന്മാർ ആന എന്താണെന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ അവിടെ എത്തി. So they went to see what an elephant is. So one of the blind men touched the foot of the elephant and declared that the elephant is like a pillar, a round pillar. Sometimes moves a little, but most of the time steady. The second blind man touched the tail of the elephant and declared that the elephant is like a thick rope with bristles on it. Every now and then it moves side to side. And the third blind man touched the trunk of the elephant and declared that an elephant is like a rubber hose which constantly moves and sometimes makes noises like air escaping through a tube. Like that. The fourth man touched the ears of the elephant and declared that the elephant is actually like a big sieve. You know what is a moram? A leather sieve which keeps flapping now and then. It's very thick leather. And then there ensued a big fight among the 4 on what is the correct definition of an elephant. It went on. You know how these fights are. I am right, you are wrong. So they were at each other's throat trying to prove their point of what is the definition of an elephant. It was at that perfect time, proper time, that a man who could actually see, which means not a blind man, we think we are not blind, but we may be. Eyes can be opened, but they may not see. Anyway, this was a proper man who could see, who appeared there and said, "What are you people fighting about? Why are you trying to murder each other?" They said, no, the definition of an elephant. He said, "Look, you are right, you're right, you're right, you're right, but all of you are wrong also in a way. Because you're looking only at one part, you're blind, you can't see, I can see. Elephant is or like a pillar, it's like a hose, it's like, but it's much more than all this. It's much bigger, much more, which you can't grasp because you cannot see. So while you are right, please respect the other guy. He's also right. Please remember that all of us have a very limited perception of the elephant, which in its ultimate essence is so big and huge and expansive that we really cannot define it. This is the way which I don't want people to behave like this blind fellows fighting with each other. Because the thing, the God or the essence of life or the supreme being whom we are looking at is so huge and so big and so infinite that all our finite definitions fall flat. We can define. But if I define and if I say I'm right, you may be right, I may be right from my perception, the other guy may be right from his perception, but the ultimate is much bigger than that we can conceive of. If we understand this, perhaps we can sort out our problems, at least on the communal system. Usually there are no communal violence. The name communal violence is used, but it is generally politically instigated. It's not, if you're communal, you can be together, you cannot be violent. The word itself is a contradiction. Commune means to come together. It's like saying, I'm a Catholic. When you say Catholic, it means the Catholicity of embracing everybody, not a separate section. I'm a Catholic. My thinking is Catholic, means I embrace everybody. Now you must remember that much before Jalaluddin Rumi, and much before 2000 years ago, the Rig Veda declared what Majnavi declared in his story of the elephant. It said, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vedanti. There is one truth. But people may call it by different names. Vipras may call it by, because it is according to their definition. So there is one supreme being. Now, of course, the Buddhists declared that it is Shunya. Now, I have been in touch with many great Buddhist souls. Shunya is not nothing. Nothing means that which cannot be defined by ordinary words. Nirvana doesn't mean blowing up of everything. It means blowing away the flame of lust, of anger, of evil deeds, so that the mind becomes pure. In the ultimate pure state of mind, nobody knows what is. So they call it Shunya. In Vedanta, the same Shunya is referred to as Purna. I would rather go with Purna. That means completeness. Purnamada, Purnamidam. That is complete. This is complete means, when you say Purnamada, Purnamidam, that is complete, this is complete, it simply means that the supreme infinite being, which 2 days back we were in Ochra. There is one place in India, in the world, which is dedicated to the worship of the supreme formless being, Parabrahma. Nowhere else in the world you can find this. Where there is no deity, there is no altar, there is nothing. So that supreme being is Purna. Now when you say supreme being, the supreme being has to be the supreme being of the universe. It can't belong to one section of people. That supreme being is also here means Purnamada Purnamidam, meaning that in every human heart, every living heart, every living being, in the heart there is a small spark of the divine, which is also in its true essence complete. When you understand this, then you sink your differences and try it, especially in this ancient country, like Father said just now. We are an ancient land which has been this fountainhead of spirituality and religion. I think when St. Thomas came to India, people accepted his teachings because they found that they were so true, not because of force. That came much later, of the purity of somebody's life. Now, connecting this, I would like to say that once upon a time, since we are here in Parumala, I must say this. Once upon a time, I say that even otherwise. Once upon a time, in the streets of Jerusalem, there walked a great person who, in our terms, in Indian terms, would be called a great yogi or a parivrajaka. Parivrajaka means a person who doesn't even have a place to stay. He himself is on record saying, the foxes have dens and the snakes have holes, but the Son of Man has no place to lay his head. In the Bhagavad Gita, such a being is defined as aniketa, one who has no place, fixed place or abode. Such a person who ate what food was offered, who walked, who had nothing to claim on his own. I am talking about Purnamada Purnamidam. That is complete. I would now like to quote from the Bible. This is from St. Paul. Know ye not that ye are the children of the living God, and the Spirit of God dwelleth in ye. This was told maybe 1,000 years after the Vedantic declaration, Tat Tvamasi, you are that. Which means in every human being there is a spark which is the spirit of the Supreme Being. We call it Jivatma. Because of various impurities that cover it, we are not able to come face to face. When the mind becomes quiet and calm and peaceful, by performing kind deeds and causing no injury to others, and also spending some time in quiet contemplation, then you realize that you are an essence in a small way of that all-pervading Supreme Being, referred to in the Upanishad as Ishavashyamidam Sarvam. There is no place where it is not. It is said that once Guru Nanak went to Makkah and he was sleeping with his legs towards the Kaaba. So somebody came and told him, please shift your feet. He said, he was a peaceful man. He said, I will shift my feet, but can you tell me, is there any place where there is no God where I can point my feet and sleep? So this is the wonderful thing about this teaching. So when I am going for this walk of hope, may I say a few more things. The other thing which you will find taught by this person, this being who had no place to lay his head. He said, lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. There is a treasure lying in our hearts which no thief can break. You don't need safes, you don't need Godrej, safety walls, nothing. And that treasure is the essence of the Supreme Being in a small way that lives in our heart. Sometimes it's a flickering flame, but the way to light it is by kind deeds. And what kinder deeds can you do than follow the suggestion, bless them that curse you, do good. It's very not easy to practice. Bless them, that do good to them that hate you, and pray for them that despitefully use you and persecute you. If you think that this is there in the Bible, I can show you the same thing in the Gita. Of course, I think Jesus probably was the man who explicitly stated it. When Krishna asked Arjuna, who do you think is the greatest of bhaktas? Who do you think is the greatest of yogis, who is closest to me? Among the things that Krishna says, one is Sarvabhuta Hite Rata, one who has the welfare of all living beings in his heart. He doesn't say one who sings my names or praises, one who has the welfare of all living beings in his heart. Now, this, if we start living, not waiting for that absolute samadhi to start living, but in day-to-day life, if you start a life of love and affection and forgiveness and move forward, such a person who is called Sarvabhuta Hide Rata is sure to attain salvation. There is no question in this, because it is stated in all religions. Religions may differ in their philosophies, but that the human mind should be purified and made kinder and compassionate, nobody disputes. So let's hold on to that. and move forward. Therefore, when we do this walk of hope, I started from Kanyakumari, Most Reverend Vimini was there when we started it off. One of the things we should remember is that while we walk from Kanyakumari you'll be delighted, we have done more than 240 kilometers by now. We don't know it. We've just been walking with great faith and understanding, passing through so many pains and tribulations. For the first 3 days, people were looking really depressed, right? Because there were shoe bites and blisters and the heat of the sun. Now it has become automatic. Everybody is walking happily, including my driver. So, being a heavy man is not easy for him to walk, but he still does. So, this happiness and this friendliness that we are coming together should remain with us in spite of differences and tribulations. And I know that many of you must be living in air-conditioned comfort. Now you're walking. It's not easy. But you have put your faith on me, so it's my duty to take you through. Please put your faith on God Almighty, not on me. I'm a small individual. So, this walk of hope, I keep telling people, while we walk from Kanyakumari to Srinagar, we should remember that it is also an inner journey. If we don't remember this inner journey, then this is futile. We may go to Srinagar and go back and probably expect nothing. If our heart changes even a wee bit while we walk on this, and we become more compassionate, kind, more understanding and loving, then when we go back, we start working from our own homes and things will change, because I believe that it is the individual who has to change before change can become a social phenomenon. So, with this appeal, again, apologizing for all the difficulties that you go through while you walk in the hot sun, and especially people who have come from abroad. You may go back well tanned, but so thank you very much, and thank you for inviting us here.